Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Unplugged Nation Podcast. And today we have a good friend of the channel, my good friend Laz. All right, let me bring him up. Hold on. Welcome to the podcast, good sir.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a good job you did that warning because I do not stop talking once I start unless you make me.
It's all right, man.
I still can't believe you've asked me up here to do this.
No,
what
man.
on earth possessed you?
It was just a matter of time. I like we've crossed paths way before you really were on my YouTube channel, Arias in the Nation. Like
Yes.
we hung
Yes, we
around,
have.
like we've crossed paths multiple times in the YouTube verse.
Yep.
And
We do have a shared community, I should say.
Yeah.
Which I've managed to stumble into. God knows how. I have
I
no
don't
idea
know,
how
man.
I've stumbled into
But
this because you're all American.
Yeah. But most of the people that we reach on a daily are from across the pond, which is interesting.
I have found that out also with since I started watching your brew and banters. I have found out that you have quite a unique following, shall I say?
Yeah.
A unique following. In fact, it was what I was doing just before I came on here.
It's kind of crazy, man. I never would have thought, if you put a gun to my head 2 years ago, I'm like, where do you think you'll be able to reach the most people? It's like UK? Like never. That would never have crossed my mind in a million years. But no, man, I really appreciate the time. I know you are a busy man. You have a full nest at your house.
I do have a full nest at my house. That's why I'm outside today. In case any of those who aren't listening to it on the podcast and are watching it on Dan's channel, I'm outside at the moment.
Yes.
I'm not at my painting desk because my toddler will not shut up and let me do this. So
yeah,
I have to go outside.
I feel you on that, man. My family just introduced a puppy into the mix, and it's lucky it's cute. You know what I mean? It's lucky it's cute.
See, that's the answer from all dads. So we're not getting a puppy. And he comes in and you fall in love. You can't help it. It's like, all right, fine, one night.
Yep.
It's 17 years later.
Exactly. One night. Like, all right, we'll keep him for one night. And then you're like, oh my God. And it's always like when you have to put the dog down later in life, it's always the dads that are like bawling. Like,
yeah. Yeah, it hits us more because we bond with the dog more.
Yeah.
It's the alpha beta thing that men do and dogs do, and we kind of naturally just fall into that little thing.
I feel like the older we get, the more we just understand what the dog goes through. You're like,
it's
like yeah.
I understand why you're laying that sunny patch in the floor. Move over, make some room.
Yeah, exactly, man. But I know that you do your. How do so what I'm trying to do is trying to segue into what you do, because I think what you do is very, very interesting.
There's no segue. We'll
Let's
start.
Just dive into it.
You want to know about my hobby, don't you?
Yes, I do, because I've been a part of some lives. Okay. And
yes, you
it's
have.
in your name, Lazy Mini Painting.
Well,
I
we'll
never
start with that. That's a good place to start. Because of the hobby that I do, there's lots of different parts. You build the models, you paint the models, you play with the models. And I love building them. Building them is one of my favorite parts. I like the game. The game is the reason I play. I love playing the game.
That's what a mini is, right, Laz?
Yeah.
A mini
is. For those who don't know what a mini is, go to, if you're aware of Warhammer or the fact that D&D uses little miniatures on the battlefield. Basically, I paint those that come not pre-painted. That's what I do, but it's my least favourite part of the hobby, which is why I'm a lazy mini painter, or lazy mini painting, because I don't like the painting part. It takes ages. It takes almost as long to paint them as it does to play. So that's where the lazy part comes from. So I started collecting when I was about 13. and my friend got, I think it was the 3rd edition starter box, and he took the Space Marines and give me the army that you got in it. Like he didn't want, which was the little flimsy Dark Elves, or the Dark Eldar, because there was space versions. And so I started off with them, and it's like, well, I like putting them together, and the few games we had, I enjoyed, but I didn't like the way they played. So eventually I invested in some Space Marines of my own and realized these play really well. I enjoyed it. And not having much money when you're that young, you accrue what you can and get what's available to you. So it kind of went by the wayside by the time I turned 16, and I figured out what alcohol and girls were. By that point, I don't want to play with little toy plastic soldiers anymore. Woo! Yeah, I'm going out nightclubbing. Nightclubbing at 16, not a good idea.
No,
nothing ever gets eventually solved. No. Yeah. I the great thing is I get ID'd more now that I'm near enough 40 than I ever did when I was 16.
Nice.
Wonderful. Thank you for the compliment. So yeah, I put it on the back burner for a while. Ended up moving away from my parents once I was old enough, and I started earning my own money. At that point, it's like, well, I've still got this small little force that I want to get back into. I really enjoyed the game when I first started playing it. So I got the next rule book that came out, and my partner at the time also wanted to be involved with me.
Yeah.
So I got my Space Marines, which were ridiculous at the time because they were still selling them in little blister packs of, if you wanted the special units, you only got 2 models in a blister pack, but you wanted a unit of 10. So you had to buy 5 of these blister packs just to fill up the unit.
And stupid. How much were those back then, like the blister packs? Remember, like people listening, they had to visualize.
Yeah. Right, so one. Back in my day, when I was young whippersnapper, so about 20 years ago, they were about £5.50 for 2 models.
That's
and
so
they were
crazy.
metal cast, but they were metal cast, so it was like a much more expensive medium to make out.
Yeah.
If you wanted a standard box set, you could a standard box set for £20, and now you got 10 models with all the options.
They would be unpainted too, right?
All of it's unpainted.
Okay.
The entire, it literally breaks down into the 3 parts of the hobby. You have the painting side, which some people only do the painting side. God knows how to do it. It drives me insane. You've got the modeling, which is either just putting the models together, piece by piece, number by number in the right place, or you've got the customization side, which is where they start chopping up models and using like milliput or green stuff to fill in and add extra bits. And I am not that good. I am nowhere near that good. But there are
I didn't know you could customize that stuff. I didn't know you could customize it. That's kind of cool.
I'll get into a little bit of if you're going to play tournaments and you was to play it as a actual go-to real tournaments and play it that way, then every model has to have a certain percentage of legitimate parts.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, but if you're not playing
like a rally car kind of thing, like, in order to enter, it has to have a certain amount of the original body still in the car, comprising the car to race, right?
Yes. Otherwise, it's not that car, or otherwise, then it's not actually that model in those parts.
Got it.
So you can customize as much as you want, especially if you're not going to tournaments. If you're not going to tournaments, then sky's the limit. You can customize to your heart's degree. Which is a part I do want to get into. I intend to try my hand at a little bit more customization in the future, but I'm just not confident in my abilities at the moment. Anyway, I've lost track. So yeah, I ended up, because of my ex-partner, I ended up with quite a decent selection of Space Marines, but I ended up with all these orcs that I had no idea of. And one thing leads to another, we separate, and I take all the Warhammer with me, of course. I bring it all with me. I mean, I left things behind that I shouldn't leave behind so I could bring Warhammer.
Yeah.
It's like I left 21st birthday presents and all sorts of stuff, like special engraved mugs and stuff like that behind. Yeah. So I had room for my Warhammer.
That's brilliant.
So yeah, I left with one suitcase and half of it was filled with Warhammer, the rest of it was filled with my clothes, and I walked out the door. That was me.
Yep. Well, that just shows everyone that you're listening. This is super important to this guy right here. And I'll tell you this. I love the fact that even though the painting isn't your favorite part of it all, right? But it's very like when I watch you paint on your streams and you're fiddling on your desk, right? On the desktop with the camera.
Do you mean yeah.
Yeah, it's just so enthralling. It's just like, oh man, I could just watch this for hours because I don't know what's happening, but it's super entertaining because like the amount of like intricacy you have to like, you really like, for me, I do very bad if I had to focus in that much. Like I'll get a headache if I'm like looking at something that I really have to be patient with. But there are people out there that's like their zen. That's how they shut everything else off.
Well, my missus is confused to heck because, you've no sound.
Oh,
you lost sound for a brief second. No worries, you're back.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah, my missus, it confuses her because I can't concentrate. I mean, I'm losing concentration just talking to you where I'm up to and what I'm saying. But I can sit down for 3 hours and paint these things.
Yeah.
And my missus doesn't understand it either. It's like, how can you focus on that when you can't focus on anything? It's like, I don't know. I just do.
It's the passion, man. It's the passion. It's different.
It's actually the camera. It's the camera. That's the reason I started my channel, because my army was just not getting painted because I don't enjoy painting. So I thought, it is a camera in front of me, and I have to paint. I have no choice. I have labeled myself now as a painter. So if I don't paint, somebody's gonna start whinging and shouting and moaning at me. Basically, it's a kick up the rear end so I can get it done.
Yeah.
Because the last edition, I didn't really have many games off. I think I've got one battle report on my channel at the moment, which is a debacle of a battle report. It's basically me and my friend trying to learn the new edition rules for the first time since we both got these nice new models. It was terrible, but we got through it, and it's the only one that we got on there. But looking at my models on the table, it was like, well, they're just all black. He can't tell which of my models are which. I can't tell which of my models are which unless I actually go looking properly.
Yeah.
So getting them painted, it is a big thing for the hobby. You need to have it done. But they were sat there for 15 years, just basically black primed, and that was it. Falling apart because I wasn't looking after them. I was putting them in tubs, and all of them were in boxes like they should have been. And well, now I have boxes. Now I have about 3 big boxes to store them in as well. Loads of cardboard boxes. When
you say they were in like disarray and bumped around, like, did you have to glue parts together or put parts together that maybe broke off? Did you have to separate all that stuff?
If you would have watched if you watched part of my stream last night, if you watched all these, I've got a stack of models at the moment that are in pieces.
Oh,
some of my older models that are 15, 20-year-old, and just like some of my original models, and arms have come off and weapons have been broken off, shoulder pads have come off. Where I've broken them apart so I can strip the paint off them as well. Like particularly those old ones that I got from the blister packs that I was mentioning earlier. They are a faction-specific model. So I collect Space Marines. Within Space Marines, there are lots of different factions that you can collect. One of them is the Blood Angels, and they have this little unit that I collected at the time. That's what my army originally was. I chose one out of the book and said, that one because I like the way it sounds, and I like the way basically space vampires with big armor. Yay, sounds fun. So I chose them initially. And later on I decided I don't want to be one of the ones in their book. I want mine.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I ended up painting the colour scheme that I do on my channel now, which is the blue shoulder pads and mostly black. So that is my faction.
Yeah.
That is my chapter now. That there's nothing to do with Games Workshop. They don't write the law for it. Everything else for them is done by me.
Now, within the community of the mini painting,
Yes.
are you in contact with other mini painters? Do you guys have like a healthy rivalry? Do you guys like?
I'm too small. They don't even know I exist.
Oh, really? But there are there a bunch? Because listen, for everyone listening, like I didn't know. I knew absolutely nothing, and I still know absolutely less than nothing about the game in which Laz is referring to, Warhammer, right? So it's a massive, huge, beyond belief thing, and for the sake of the podcast, maybe we'll break that down into chunks later on down the road. But
Yes.
but for being just involved, it's just like such a huge. It's almost like a D&D mixed with Magic the Gathering, like on scale, on like how many people are involved.
Oh, right. On scale, it's the biggest tabletop war game on the planet.
Like physically, or just with
physically,
fans?
No, it is the biggest. Physically, yes. I mean, they have grand tournaments in Las Vegas, and that was not that long ago. They have grand tournaments all over the world with cash payouts.
Wow,
lots of people enter. I mean, if you were to search after this, you'd probably find a tournament near you. Wow. And at least 4 or 5 game stores within Maryland that will stock the models.
Wow.
It is absolutely massive. As you asked regarding the painters, there are some really, really, really good painters out there. And then there are some good painters on YouTube. Most of the best painters are not on YouTube.
Got it.
Because they don't need to be. They'll just post an Instagram post and people will flood to it. And they'll earn money through commissions, they'll earn money in lots of different... You can earn money from it because people like me don't like painting or can't paint. But there are people who are not like me who have money. So they can pay somebody else to do it.
No, I got you. I mean, it's just something that... like, you can get away with. It's such a massive thing. It's like you can enjoy just painting them, and that could be your thing, and that's legitimate. You don't have to play. It's like, I'll put it this way: like my when I was growing up, like I collected a lot of Pokemon cards. I could never I never wanted to play Pokemon cards, but I collected them. Right? I know that there are tournaments and all that kind of stuff. Like I wasn't all in. I just
You've
wanted
not seen the new EX cards. You've not seen the new EX cards. Oh, they're nice. They are so nice.
No. Oh man. No, I just don't have
anyway,
right now. I just don't have time for
Pokemon. That's another rabbit hole. That's another rabbit hole I can take you down.
Another world right there, man. But no, so I find it so interesting how massive this hobby is. It's like not, and I hate calling it a hobby because it is so massive and it means so much to so many people. Like,
but within the community, that is literally what it's called. It's called the hobby. It's not a hobby. It is the hobby from within the community. I'm members of Discord channels. Obviously, I follow YouTube channels about it. Whether it be about news, lore, rumors that are coming out for new editions and models. There are so many.
That's crazy.
So many little sub paths that you can take within this thing. There are people who don't even collect the models, don't even do any painting. All they do is read novels and study and follow the law. They don't even have a model
because it's that extensive. You know, it's that extensive. It's like a complete world of fantasy that is, or like, would you say battle fantasy, come to something like that, with a beginning, with a with a mid part, with the ongoing storyline. That's
the ongoing part is yes, it's ongoing. Warhammer 40,000, which is the sci-fi one that I play, essentially is set in our future, but in the 40th and 41st millenniums. So like way out there.
Got it.
But yeah, it's in our future. So whatever's happening now is technically canon in.
Got it. Well, that makes sense.
Everything that's going on in there. They just blew it to galactic, to basically the full galaxy. That's what you're fighting over. That's what all the different factions are fighting over, is the galaxy.
It's just a huge thing. It
is huge.
It's a massive undertaking to try to understand that the depth of the hobby. You know,
see, I'm having to hold myself back right now because I'm waiting to
spill
so much stuff at you right now.
Well, hear me out on this, man.
Go.
For everyone listening, like you pushed yourself to create your YouTube channel, basically to push yourself to finish this painting, these paintings.
Yes. And I'm not a standard YouTuber. Every standard YouTuber seems to want monetization and wants subscribers and subscribe. Click that notification. Make sure I get money off advertising. I'm like, just turn up so I've got somebody to talk to while I'm doing this. Please. Do you realize I need more? I need somebody to push me into it. So I'm certainly not a standard YouTuber. Although I have resorted to begging almost on my channel at the moment. Because of the size of my army. Last night's stream, for instance, I was organizing and breaking it all down into the chapters, into the companies of my chapter.
Okay.
A chapter being an army, companies being the little bits of things like you can go do that bit, you can go do that bit, you can go do that bit. Okay, so I was breaking it down, and I've come to the conclusion I'm just less than halfway through getting the amount of models I need, and it's a minimum of 1,000.
Okay.
To make up 10 companies. I have a good chunk of 10th. I have a good chunk of 1st, some of 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and I've started on 5th.
Now, do you need a 1,000-piece minimum to compete?
Only for my personal, because it's my chapter. Therefore, I want my chapter. I don't want just want a battle company. To explain this, I'm going to have to go into a little bit of the game side. Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Every time you play a game, you get a point value to build to. Every unit and weapon and whatever you use costs a certain amount of points. Now, for my army, it comes to about 12,000 points. The average battle or game size is 2,000 points. So I've got way more than I ever need. But that also means that I've got unit selection choices. So I can, if they think I'm going to bring all that, I can go, no, I'm going to bring all this instead. Mm-hmm. So you've decided to face me to take out small, big, heavy, chunky units. And I've decided, no, I'm bringing large, light units, large scale units, 10 models in every single one that's going to run it.
Wow.
Whereas you think I'm bringing little 3-man squads or 5-man squads that are going to sit back and shoot.
So
I have variants.
It's a bunch of the okay. So because I'm trying to grab this concept as well, as probably as well with people that are listening in on the podcast. So not only is it like the more players, the more pieces you have, the more complete. Right, chapter? Is that what you called it? The chapter, the full thing?
Mine's a chapter, but that's because of the army that I collect.
But let's say the 1,000-piece army, I'm just going to call it that, right? You can pull from each piece. So if someone is, I guess, fighting you, and you guys got what? Hear me out. I'm going to put this in layman's terms. Do not feel offended. Let's say a 20 versus 20, right?
Right.
They bring their 20. Well, you have not only 20, but you could also pull. You can make your 20 from the 1,000 that you have.
Yes.
and you have the upper hand in that 20v20 battle because the depth of your roster.
Spot on.
There
I could not have put it in a better layman's term than that, because I struggle putting things in layman's terms.
No, but it's all right. I'm a professional layman, so I live in layman's terms, man. Trust me.
But
that
is exactly it. Because the more you have to choose from, the more variance and selection you have, the better your chances of putting together the force to beat your opponent.
Yeah. So everything you need to win most battles is in that 1,000. The strategy part is creating the right squad.
Not just that. It's a dice game at the end of the day.
Okay.
So you could have the perfect strategy, the perfect unit, and your first roll is all ones, which are automatic fails.
Oh my
automatic fails. Doesn't matter in modifiers. You roll natural ones. All 30 hits, natural ones. Your strategy just gone down the path.
Yep.
Because you was expecting to take out that unit. You didn't even hit it, let alone wound or kill a unit or model. And now they're just going to chat straight into you, and you're not ready for that.
And then you're playing catch up.
Yeah, so it's a very fluid game, which is why I like it so much, because it is such a fluid game. You have to literally be able to change your strategy on the fly.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. It's not just not only you have to have a hot hand to roll the dice as well. Not only do you have to bring amass the right squad, so that means that the perfect squad doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't. I've got a prime example. As I said, I collect Space Marines and I collect Orcs. Now, Orcs are not the power armored superhumans. Okay. No. Well, kind of. It's an Orc with a K, not with a C. Basically, they ripped off Tolkien and made him a bit more dumb and British. And I mean, very dumb and British. Orcs are hilarious. Orcs are probably the most funny army in the entire game. Their units are called Boys and Knobs. That's it. Boys and Knobs. They're an animalistic fungus, for Christ's sakes. It's like, what? Nice. They live for what? But they have this really small unit called Gretchen, and they are literally fodder. That is all they are there for. They are the cheapest model you can get in the game, and they are to stand in front of whatever you don't want to get shot and get shot instead. That is their purpose. Brilliant. My friend, well, no, it's actually my brother-in-law, was playing a Space Marine army, and he took some of the toughest, strongest, I can splat a tank with my fist unit. He ran them into my little Gretchen, missed them, and my Gretchen beat him. I needed 6s to hit, I needed 6s to wound, and I needed him to roll all ones on his armor. I won.
That's crazy.
Like, what? I mean, I shouldn't even survive the shooting. Never mind the coming punching me. I shouldn't even survive the shooting.
No,
but I survived. I beat the unit. I was like, oh.
I love that. I love that it can be anyone's game at any moment, and I think that that's a massive draw. Like for me, I really wasn't into those type of games, but I see the draw. I see the draw in just the lore, because it's deeper than just a game. You know, like people, because it's hard for me to describe it. It's hard for me to just describe the concept of it. Does that make sense? Like,
yes,
for me to, because it's something that I think would enthrall everyone, and I feel like I didn't know about it until I saw, and our paths crossed, I think, through EB, either Embrace the Suck, or I think it was EB. I think our paths crossed with EB.
It's because of EB that I found out about Embrace the Suck. And that's how we ended up.
Yeah.
And I think I dropped in on a couple of your brewing banters, and then I started becoming a regular in those. Although I have stopped taking the mick out of you on those. I really am sorry. I'm going to have to start again.
Well, I mean, we're all over the place, man. Like sometimes with some streams, man, some brewing banters a lot. And I really appreciate you jumping on the lives. I know when we go live, you have to pick up your kid from school, and that's my only time as a. Because I know, listen, man, I know you're a dad. I know your schedule's packed and busy, and mine is too. And it's crazy. Like, that's the one thing that unites all of us across the board. Like, those fathers, like, we get it. Like, we get it. Like, timing is it it's sometimes when I meet up to do Embrace the Suck 21 stuff with Spencer, um it's a I feel bad sometimes because my plans change like the wind, but it's kind of like I cannot make a hard plan. Every time I make a plan that's in stone, it fails. So I just roll with it. I'm just like, hey, and that's why I loved setting this up with you, because like, hey man, if our paths cross around this time and we're free around this time, we'll make it happen.
Well, I'm lucky that I can make myself free quite easily,
mm-hmm.
but I can't guarantee no distraction. I mean, I've locked this door next to me, so it can't be opened right now. So nobody can come and disturb us. My missus is in there playing with a little Mario Kart 8, teaching him how to play that just to keep his interest, so I can sit out here and have this conversation with you. She's really good about that. So, I'm much more of a fly by the seat and pants. Look, if you're gonna message me, if you want to do something, just send me the message. If I'm available, then I'll jump straight. I'll be there immediately. I'll be there. If I'm not, I'll send you a message. Sorry, man, can't do it.
No, and that's what like in our community we have a lot of people that go live a lot.
Yes, some people that's all they do.
That's all they do. And when I get links, it's sometimes I'm like, if I can, I will. Like that's the most I can do.
That's all anyone can really ask for, though. Which is why with my stream last night, I didn't post the link out to individual people. I just pinned it in the top and thought, look, if anyone can, then those who know to click it, they can just click it, come up, and I'll let them up. They know I will. Anyone willing to try the luck, well, try your luck. You never know.
Yeah.
I might let you up. I might just boot you out. If I don't know you, chances are I'm going to boot you out.
I love it. It's like a pure gamble too. It's just like, all right, it could just be just a complete flop. You could invite a wackadoo up there, some Moldovan freaking crazy.
I've gone from everything I have. I've had Mick T up on mine. Mick T is great. Mick T is brilliant. The time I got to spend with him when Joey came over, I enjoyed thoroughly. But Mick can be a little bit of a loose cannon, in a good way. Don't get me wrong. I buzz off him. He's absolutely hilarious. But it's an extreme. He is an extreme. And then I'll go to the other side where I'll have an Angie up, and Angie's very quiet and very subdued. And whoever comes up on my streams can be any from that end of the spectrum to that end of the spectrum, and I don't know who's going to click that link.
That's true, and it's kind of exciting, man, because you don't know where it's going to spit you out. But for all of our stuff, and first and foremost, man, I want to say thank you for just rocking with the podcast side of stuff and also the channel, man. That's awesome. Thank you for that.
Anything I can do to help you.
Man. Thank you. It's all appreciated, man. It's all appreciated, man. And it's like we're strengthening the community by doing these things, like together, like our little thing.
I dread to hear the abuse that I'm going to get off this afterwards. The little community that, I've somehow managed to become much more involved with than I ever dreamed or thought I would be, has certainly left an impact. Let's put it that way.
Dude, I love that, man. I love that. You created something on Instagram, man, and you just dipped. You're like, hey, here it is. Bye. Here's the dumpster fire. I'll see you later.
Well, as I said, I'm very much a flyer. Somebody give me an idea, and I just went, well, let's find out. Ding, ding, ding. Done. Yeah, you can do it. Ding. There you go. Didn't think about the repercussions of it afterwards. It was like, oh yeah, I didn't think
no
about
sleep
that.
for the next 3 days.
Yeah, let's just mute that channel, and I'll go check it when I want to. Sorry, people, I do only go in when I can be asked.
Yes, exactly. No, me too. I'm just like real life first and foremost before we get into anything. Like I can't really afford to lose hours catching up, but no,
sometimes you do. I click that catch up button and I'll sit there for like 30 seconds while it scrolls all the way down to the bottom.
You're like, holy crap!
How do you guys
have this much to say?
How do you have this much time to type all this?
Yeah.
It's like,
it's crazy, man.
But it's not just one or two people. I mean, there's 15 to 20 people in there, and they all jump in through various times of the day. And I still feel sorry about that. I feel like I've taken part of your channel away from you.
No,
I do. Man. I feel like I've taken part of it away from you because a lot of the people in there are part of your Patreon, I'm assuming.
I don't think so.
So basically I'm taking all the people like me that are cheapskates away from your Patreon.
Yeah, I don't think so. And on the Instagram side of things, it's not like we're doing movie reactions.
Well, I purposely named it so it wasn't affiliated with either Arias and the Nation or Embrace the Suck. I've labeled it so it's affiliated with neither.
But it has
anyone who
scent.
knows.
It has the scent.
Yeah. If you know, then you know.
But
so
like
it was, but I do feel bad about that a little.
I love that you were doing your thing on YouTube, and you know what? I see that more and more people are jumping into your lives, and which is cool, man.
Slowly. I think my highest has been about 15 at once.
Yeah.
Usually average about 4 or 5. And that'll be including my missus lurking. You, probably Evie, my brother-in-law, Blake.
Yep.
Basically, the people are going, oh, Blair, I feel sorry for him. I'll stick him in the background. Basically, those people. And I have pillaged your community as well. So,
of course.
Thank you for those from the Arias Nation that show up in my streams.
It's so funny, man. It's so fun. It's really fun. I pop in. I'm like, hey, it's the usual suspects. We just travel around the internet as a group. We're like nomads, bro.
Well, it is because it's scary because, well, you're aware of, JV's Hangouts on Fridays.
Yeah.
There was a long period where I wasn't up there, and then I started going back up again, and all of a sudden your name starts popping up. I'm like, I can go out. And Dad doesn't usually go and watch these ones. And then I see other names popping up. And I'm like, am I being stalked here or something? Are these following me around? Because EB wasn't going up. So it's like, I wasn't sure where he was getting that connection from. I was like, how? Well done. Awesome. You're welcome to watch JV. I'm glad about that. But it's like, I'm starting to see names. I was like, okay.
Wait a minute. Internet's a little bit smaller than I thought.
Yeah, a whole lot smaller all of a sudden. It's like this was like 3-4 years ago. This was a big vast place where I could go anywhere and nobody would know me. Yeah. And now I'm popping up in places like, hey, all right, lads. How you doing, lads? Hey,
shit.
It's like, people are getting that many names now that are saying hi. It's like, I haven't got half an hour to say hi individually. I'm sorry. So it's like, hey, chat. In general, because it's just like,
that's just the way to ease everyone in, because you would throw off your own train of thought if you were to individually like, hey guys, this, and the brew and banter on my end. I always try to acknowledge the people that come in.
Well, when you're up on live and you can talk, it's different because you can go, hey, this, hey, that, hey, and a word is spoken quicker than you have to sit there and type it on, in my case, a phone. And I've got big fat thumbs that hit 3 keys at once. So it's like I press Y and I get the 2 extras, and it's like, that's not right, is it?
And it's a little bit different, man, because you have a task that you're trying to complete when you go live. Over on like JV's side, there's a panel.
I don't have a task.
You know, me is just like, I will talk to the chat. I get on for the chat and I chat back. That's it.
Yeah.
Like
that panel can get a little bit hectic, can I say?
Chaotic.
Oh well, you was in when I was up with EB, BC, and Captain. You was in the chat room for that.
Yeah.
And when you saw how, if we get told to let loose, how we let loose.
Yeah.
But we can be brutal if we want to be. We can be very nice if we want to be.
Yeah, that was crazy. I was like, okay, this is going off the rails. But
and it usually does. It usually does.
which I think is memorable, which is good. But yeah, man, no, I really enjoy, like, I think what we'll do is, there's no quick way to unpack the epicness that is your favorite thing, okay? And I'm telling people that are listening, we will have Laz on in segments and we'll update. We'll just chip away at the iceberg.
We've been going for 42 minutes, and all you know so far is that I collect Space Marines and Arcs. That's it. From a game called Warhammer 40,000. That's it. Warhammer 40,000. 2 factions.
It's like you find yourself in, painting the minis and playing the game that you're passionate about, and it hones your mind in. It makes you hyper focused on what you're doing, task at hand.
New box set's coming out in June, so I'm like really excited for that, because it's a new Dreadnought, a new Stoning Guard Veterans, new Terminator Captain, new Phobos Captain, new Terminator Librarian, Pyroblasters. I'm gonna have a full 10-man unit of flamethrowers. It's gonna be awesome.
There you go.
Convince someone else to get the box. I'll have 2 10-man units of flamethrowers. Yes.
I'm trying to figure out a comparison to something that's not game related. Like, if I were to tell the mechanic up the street what it is, like
Toy soldiers.
Yeah, but like a lore, like that. See, like that's what I'm saying. It's not that. People think that okay, it's just chess pieces. Like you paint basically chess pieces, but it's not even about that. It'd be like, I don't even know.
Okay,
it's a whole story.
Do you want to start with the Horus Heresy, or do you want to start with Warhammer 40,000?
Let's hear me out, because we're gonna we're gonna have to unpack it in segments. You know what I mean? Like, because sometimes on our private chats, man, you get going and it's like you're so passionate about it and you know so much about it that this will turn into a 4-hour podcast, and we won't have said anything. We'll just talk about the
little plastic man.
We'll just talk about
the little plastic man
to the story.
Yeah, just a little bit behind it. It's like,
but what I think, man, massive. Is I think I'm gonna try to blast this on my YouTube channel, and I'll connect you all up in the description, because I really think that'll
get me subscribers. People are coming to what?
Not like anyone, but I think that I think it's very interesting, man. I think it's interesting, to say the least.
Well, if you are interested and you can pop up on any of my streams, I encourage, and this is not just for you, this is for anyone who's listening who has been on my streams, please ask questions.
Yep.
Ask questions. I will answer. And if you do start touting my stuff in the description for this on YouTube, there's a good possibility that other people who know about it will start joining the chat. They'll love to answer. I mean, the community, the Warhammer community is so passionate that they will always want to help. I mean, they're all losers. They'll flip tables if they lose, but if you're just asking questions, then they're okay. They're all willing to help.
Gotcha.
So it's, as if my channel grows, it will probably start attracting more that play the game. So then more people start asking questions and it'll get answered. And
There you
But
go.
I'll encourage anyone wants to ask a question about it. I may ramble for an hour about it, but I'll try and get to answer your question.
Now here's a side question before we start wrapping up. Are there painters that commission, like, can you commission a painter to paint your squad for you, or is that like unheard of?
Can I plug someone then?
Yeah.
Anyone who's gone and seen my models and musings number 6, I believe it was, partway through the chat, there is one of my moderators called Jessica, and she has put a Facebook page in there because she does commission paints. She does commission painting. That's what she does. She does it part-time at the moment. She's trying to get it into full-time because there are people who do it full-time. But she's very good. Very, very good.
Really?
Compared to my... thank you all for complimenting me when you watch to my standards, saying, oh, that's great, that's good, that's good. Yeah, I might as well just dip mine in house paint compared to Jessica's. They are so finely detailed. They are so crisp. They are clean. Unless you want it to be fuzzy, in which case she'll make it fuzzy down that line.
That's crazy, dude.
It is unbelievable. I believe she's also trying to get in touch with another couple of painters, so there's a few of them.
Oh, cool. Like a collective.
So, yeah, so you can, and she'll do it at stages at various different levels for you as well. So you can have what they call battle ready, which is basically 3 basic colors, so you can see what the hell they are and tell them apart.
Got it.
And then you'll have parade ready, which is filling in a few more of the little bits of details, making them look a bit nicer. And then you have competition entry level painting, where it's like, can I see the blood vessels in his eyes?
Wow.
Oh,
cool.
That's a bit extreme because their eyes are that freaking small. They're like a pinprick anyway. But to go to that degree where it's like you can see details that is like, I didn't even know that was there. I looked at this model in the magnifying glass and I didn't even know that detail was there. And you can pick that out. Or you can add freehands and all sorts of stuff. I mean, if you're a good artist, and you've got a lot, some of the tanks have big, just blank panels. So some people literally paint art on them, or murals, or all sorts of stuff.
That's
so
kind of cool, man.
Lots of stuff going.
It was just one of those, like, I see it like you're painting you're painting your own thing. You're painting your own pieces. But I was like,
yes,
if you're painting your own, that means in the world of humans, there must be someone that can be commissioned to paint things. Because I assume it's like
to paint a gang at the moment.
Because I assume it's like, you know how like you're like, okay, I don't really like, or like I like to paint, or I don't like to paint, but I'm liking to paint. Like that's not my least favorite part of the whole world of it, is the paint part.
Yes.
Some people just live for the paint, and maybe like the people that just like to play the game will pay the painters to paint them their pieces. You know, like, okay, let's just get into it.
That happens a lot. That happens quite a lot. In fact, a lot of the YouTubers will do that as a bit of a side project thing. Mm-hmm. So you can contact them, say, look, you can either send them the models or you pay for them to buy the models.
Got it.
Either way, you have to buy the models, which are not cheap.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
Obviously,
man.
You pay for their time, their resources, and they paint them up to whichever standard you wish. It happens an awful lot. I just don't have the money for it, so I end up starting a YouTube channel instead.
Yeah. No, I think what you're doing is so, man, for me, not knowing the culture, not knowing the history behind the game or the game at all, really, and seeing you so passionate about something so, to me, is detail-oriented, and maybe from an outsider's perspective, like, what is he doing? Like, I'm like, what is this guy doing? Like, this is so intricate for what's the end result of this? So it's pretty cool to see someone that's just in their pocket being passionate about something. Like, that drives engagement regardless.
I wish he did. Well, it drives my engagement. It keeps me there for however long I need to be to do the painting. Otherwise, distracted and shiny.
Yeah.
It's easy to get me distracted when I'm live. Never mind when I'm It's just like, oh, have you seen? And I'll open up a page and I'm like, oh yeah, this model and this model and this model and this model and this model.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of models, they're going to be releasing the Bretonia range soon, which I'm really looking forward to showing you.
You know what I love is that thing is a constantly evolving, constantly current thing that it's like it's not a dying thing. Does that make sense? It's not a thing of it's not nostalgic. It's like freaking thriving. So
if the company that makes it doesn't sort the neck out, I don't think they're going to last another. As they were wrong, they're a billion dollar company, but they're making some very bad business decisions at the moment.
Oh no, gotcha.
Price hikes beyond reasonable. It's like, okay, range refreshes. That is just like, I've already got all these. Yeah. Why have you just made them re-release them with looking? It's how I've ended up with how the amount of models I had. I've pretty much, since 8th edition came out, I've pretty much doubled my army size.
There you go. Wow.
And I've done it all on the cheap as well. I've done it all on the cheap with starter sets, easy build models, magazines that are giving away models, little bits of models for free. Well, not for free, but as part of the magazine. So I've collected it all off that way, because if you try and collect it officially, it costs you a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
It costs you a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, just for one of the 10-man squads that I was looking through last night would cost you about £35. I think these close to around $45. Wow, just for a 10-man box of standard troops that I had 75 of them sat on my desk last night.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Like, when you start talking about like price points, like that just makes my ears prick up, because I'm like, damn, these guys are invested. And if you're invested, you're passionate. And if you're passionate, I'm there for it. You know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well,
but
yeah, I want that one unit. I told you this was not going to be a half an hour one. No matter how hard you try to make it, you've got me on, and I don't stop talking, and I'm not bothered about that clock.
Well, I'm gonna have to pull the plug, because I gotta check on my pup, who's probably destroying the house upstairs.
Oh dear. Oh yes.
Well, yes.
Go fix it. You've got tools. Fix it.
What, my puppy? I can't fix the puppy. Not yet. Oh,
well, man. You can't. That's just something different, mate.
That's a different kind of. Yeah, that's a different tool. That's a different. I don't have that.
Yeah.
I have a drill. It doesn't work. But
I bet it would. Anyway. I just don't think the dog will be happy with
it. Yeah. But all right. Hey, Laz, thank you for hopping up. Thank you for hopping up on this. And I feel like this is one of many. All right. I think if the people want, we just unpack this thing, and we'll be the spot to go to for the weird, insane, and awesome world of Warhammer.
If you want me back, leave it in the comments.
Yes.
If you want me back, leave it in the comments.
And I do like your hat. I have one as well.
What, the eclectic beard hat? Oh, you got the black version. Is it the black or is it the camo?
It's the camo.
No, I went for the plain grey. I'm quite a simple man. I like plain.
There you go.
Understated, despite the fact that I'm sat in a fucking bright blue check shirt and a purple t-shirt.
but all right, man. Well, listen. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on. And for all of you guys listening, make sure you guys unplug and do something epic, guys. All right. And I'll see you guys next time. All right. Later.